Good afternoon, everyone. And I think today we can meet some of the new friends here, Usata new companies here. Also, I glad to meet some of the old friends from the Usata companies here. And I think I should introduce my again. My name is Zhang for the Usata China representative. Actually, I'm based in Shanghai, and for SMH in the Usata rep, we got the branch office in the Shanghai can be the main office, and also we got the Guangzhou office, and also we have the Hong Kong office. And today I'm glad with the Hong Kong office rep Angela is here, and I want to share more information with you about the Hong Kong market, because the upcoming will be the HOFEX show. So I think today we will have the facts information want to deliver it to you. Let's see which kind of the Angela. Next slide. And yeah, today I will give you the travel updates, and because in the last 3 years, and China used the zero tariff or zero the case the COVID policy. It's really an inconvenience for the international visitor to travel to Hong Kong and to China. So, but the right now situation is totally changed. So I will give you more detailed information later. And Hong Kong's economy is totally recovered, and the Hong Kong government tried to promote the Hong Kong again in the international market, and their slogan is "We are back." So it means the whatever Hong Kong market is ready, and hope our startup companies can be back to Hong Kong market. In the same time, in the last 3 years, during the COVID, the consumers the concept and demanding is totally changed. So I think about Hong Kong. In the same time, the new market demanding is increased, especially Hong Kong used to be the very popular for the online shopping, but in last 3 years due to the COVID situation, and Hong Kong's the online sales is pretty. Angela 回去, pretty sales is pretty increased. So I think about Angela later will share more information what kind of the products is more perspective. Hope this product is in your list. So that will be much good for you to join with us for the HOFEX. The point 4 is we were talking about if you get the chance to join with us at the exhibit at the HOFEX show, and what kind of the benefits and the market opportunity with you. And also I want to share more information for as the rep, what kind of the service we can provide. Of course, because we are pretty favorite for this show. So besides the normally Usata provided the pretty standard service, and for today, and I think about for our office, we will be value added. You can get the extra some service, and which is really want to you with us. Also in the same time, and we can hope you back to the market in person. Maybe before we did something is on virtual online, but the in person expression is totally different feeling. And if you can direct talk to the buyers face to face, that is very critical. And also we will leave with the reserved 10 minutes for Q&A. And right now, if you have any questions, and also you can leave your questions in the chat box. And during our presentation, we'll try to including the questions in our presentation. Okay, that's it. Generally, we are going to talk. And let me talk first is the travel update. Travel update. For the HOFEX is in Hong Kong. The time is the early May 8 to 10. But just in case you will want to take this opportunity come to the mainland China before or after the trade show. So I think about, also I just want to remind you, if you are come to the mainland China, what's kind of the requirement from the Chinese government. Okay, for the mainland China, and still right now, it's easy. For first is the visa application. I want to say, right now, all the U.S. consulate in the United States, especially for in the San Francisco, is pretty open for online register for the visa application. I heard 2 weeks ago they are still not open the online registration for Chinese visa application. I have a friend in California, and she was, try to back to China, try to apply the Chinese visa, and she was in the queue for overnight. Right now, is already over the online the registration. So if you are going to apply for the Chinese visa, and you can online the register to set the appointment. The second, maybe some buyers, they already, or some suppliers, you already got the 10 years the Chinese visa before the COVID. During the COVID the period, this visa is unexpired, expired, invalid. But right now, since the March 15, this visa is resumed, it's revalued. So if you got the Chinese visa before COVID for 10 years, and your visa still is workable, so you don't need another to access the Chinese visa. And one more thing I want to let you know, China, Shanghai, and with other few cities, I forgot the name, they have the policy is the 144 hours to access can be waived the visa. If you, and also I think that include Beijing as well. If you are going to just for the Shanghai and the Beijing, just within the 144 hours, and even in the US side is pretty long the queue for waiting online. You can still go, come to from Hong Kong to China within the 144 hours. That is with the visa. So, and once you come to the China, and most please remember, you should do the PCR test in 48 hours. Then the officials can be allowed you to mainland China, and that is only the policy related to the COVID. Other all the rest is back to normal. No mandatory quarantines, no lockdown, and everything is back to normal. And for the domestic flight, everything is back to normal. So just the one requirement to the mainland China is the 48 hours ahead for PCR test. That is the mandatory. That is I have to say for the mainland China generally, for the we are almost back to the normal life. So most people not always concerning for the COVID. And in the Shanghai street, even in the retail stores market, still some people to wear the mask. They just think about this is not mandatory from the government. They just think about just protect something, maybe someone is get used to wear the mask. So this is another mandatory from the government level. Okay, this is for mainland China. I think for HOFEX is in Hong Kong, and I think about the Hong Kong will be the final destination. Maybe also you want to go to Macau as well. So let's see what's going on in Hong Kong. Hong Kong is very easy to access. No any requirement for your travel. It means no any the health test. No any the online the field form, no any the quarantine, something like that, and nothing. You just buy your ticket on board come to Hong Kong. That is very easy. Everything is back to the normal. In the same times, the government already lift the mask, the requirement since the March 1st. So right now is almost nothing about to the COVID situation. So that's, I think the Hong Kong situation is pretty similar as in the US, So Hong Kong is very easy for you to travel as well. So that's, I think about, that is good news for you to come to the Hong Kong and join the trade shows, meet with the buyers, and and easy for you to back to the States. In the same times, someone wants, after the Hong Kong the show, want to go to the 1 or 2 days for the Macau. Macau, the economy is, the Macau, so many casinos there, and Macau's the economy is back. And I was in Macau last week, and the casino is fully packed. In the same time, so the Macau's the hotel, the room rate is ridiculous. And I heard one night is pretty common for almost, the $800 to $900 per night. That is pretty common in Macau. So it means, you can see, and the demanding for the hotels is increasing. So the more the visitors, tourists, come to Macau. In the same times, in Hong Kong, and currently I stay in Hong Kong, and I stay in the Jiansha area, and the street is fully packed, and so many, the visitors, not just from mainland China and some other countries as well. So I think about, Hong Kong is on the way to the back to the normal. So I think it's for the under travel, the travel requirement, the sectors. I think about it. It's pretty good timing, for you to back to Hong Kong. Okay, this is the travel policy. If you have any travel policy, including visa, including the test, or including the hotel something, and for the hotel reservation something, I will talk to later. This is one of the service. So I will give you more information later. And then the second part is that's Angela, next slide. And I want to give you more information about the economy, the recovery. So I just temporarily hand over to my colleague, and Angela. Angela is the typical Hong Kong. So I think, she used her own, the perspective to share more information, direct information with you about the Hong Kong economy. Okay, and Angela, please. Angela 没有声音 ，you're muted，you're muted。你没有卸屏幕。
Sorry, I opened the mic.
Okay.
Okay, thanks, Roger. Hello, everyone. Nice to meet you. Now I'm going to talk about the economic recovery situation in mainland China and Hong Kong. So the first will be mainland China. China is today one of the largest and most important economies in the world, and it all started only around 40 years ago. The opening of its economy to the world reached its height in the 2000s. With its national GDP growing by double digits on average from 2000 to 2010. Once it has caught up with the rest of the world, China's economy began to stabilize and slow down a bit, with an annual growth of around 6 to 7% in the next decade. Entering the late 2010s, the trade war and COVID both had a great impact on economics, with GDP dipping below 6% in 2019 and below 3% in 2020. But it rebounded back to 8% in 2021 before falling once again to 3% in 2022 with another wave of COVID lockdowns, especially in key markets like Shanghai. Looking forward to the future, The IMF forecasts GDP growth in 2023 and 2024 to be around 5% as China finally makes the step to move on from COVID. And in the retail and food service sectors, China saw supermarket and convenience store sales increase by 3 and 3.7% last year when most other categories fell. Normally, when we're considering you can't live without eating and drinking, the 3 years of pandemic have moved more people to buying online compared to the year before. China already has the world's largest e-commerce sector before COVID, and it has just grown even more since then, with overall online sales increased by 4% in 2022 compared to 2021. On the other side, the HRI sector was hit hard by COVID lockdowns and restrictions. But as a whole, restaurants reported an online revenue increase of 22% between 2021 and 2022, and the industry is projected to recover to and exceed pre-COVID levels of sales for the year, and is expected to continue growing into 2026. Now, for Hong Kong, the economy has already slowed down before COVID, and the pandemic has made it more difficult to grow. As you can see in the chart, it's been a roller coaster ride through the past couple of years, with GDP falling by 6% in 2020, the sharpest decline on record, before bouncing back to 6% in 2021, then falling again in 2022 by 3%. The good news is that with the removal of quarantine and normal travel resuming again, the incoming visitors are expected to help Hong Kong rebound strongly and play a major role in driving economic growth this year. And looking at Hong Kong's retail and HRI sectors, both key to the city's economic growth as a major tourist destination, the cancelling of COVID restrictions will help the food and drink industry move past the challenge with continued spending growth. In the past year, supermarket sales declined, but other outlets such as traditional wet markets, brick-and-mortar stores, bakeries, and fresh fruit stores were able to handle the impact better, suffering lesser impact compared to supermarkets. Because Hong Kong is such a small and compact city, supermarkets and convenience stores are everywhere, and the online market space have never truly lived off, unlike in China. But COVID has allowed the online sectors to thrive. In 2021, online food sales grew 14% to almost $450 million. People are now realizing the convenience of online shopping, and this is expected to see sales grow to over $700 million by 2026. On the other hand, the huge reduction in tourism was a huge blow to Hong Kong's HRI sector. Many restaurants had closed as a result. Many of them family-owned businesses with decades of history. There were no exceptions. But the revenue in the catering industry did rebound by 51% in the second quarter of 2022 compared to the first, mostly due to relaxed COVID measures.
Okay, Angela, when you're going to move to the third topic, and we just got a question from the company, one of the company, to talking about the how to invite the buyers to the United States. Yes, and for the food for the USATA the program, definitely, and USATA will be and happy to need a letter to the president to the interview the USATA. And I think the if the buyers, the USATA can be, I see the USATA can be, the for the inbound mission or some USATA activity. Definitely USADA can be in the draft the invitation letter for all the buyers. In the same time, right now the queue waiting for the US visa for the Chinese buyers is pretty long. And sometimes, if it's you are the buyers is really urgent and want, to come to the States and see some of the facility, to place the order, sign the agreement, it's really directed for the sales. And for our office, we are happy to help you to connect with the ATO and the USDA China. And they depends, the how urgent, and they will give you the different level of support and to make sure and he or she can be, get the visa on time to the United States to meet your requirement. Especially, it's pretty urgent to sign the agreement, see the facility or some new facility new open, something like that. That is pretty, the time the requirement, and we are very happy to help you to coordinate with the ATOs to get the visa help. Okay, hope and we answer your question already. Okay, and let's Angela to move to the third point. Okay, Angela, please.
Thanks, Roger. Now I'd like to turn to introduce some prospect products with potential. Looking at prospective product in China, we should understand that despite everything that has been said about China, it is still one of the most important and largest consumer markets in the world, just behind the US. It is also currently the #1 importer of US agricultural products and has been it since 2020. As seen in the chart, in the orange column, bulk commodities like corn, sorghum, and cotton make up 70% of all Chinese imports. But in the yellow column, consumer products have also been growing on a yearly basis as more food is being consumed domestically rather than re-exported like it used to. In 2022, US consumer products export to China increased by 7% to $7 billion, the highest on record. And key products include proteins like meats, seafood, and dairy, and also tree nuts and dry fruits. Pet food, alcoholic beverages, and bakery ingredients are also emerging to become some of the most important exports to China. As for China's imports from West US, $1.6 billion of agricultural products were exported from the West US to China in 2022, the second largest exporting region within the US. Top exports include beef, seafood, tree nuts, dairy, food preparations, fresh fruits, and poultry. Some of these products have been exported to China for years, but we are also seeing new entries. For example, beef, poultry, dairy, meat products, pet food, juicy, hay, and seafood all seeing every positive trends in terms of growing number of in 2022, especially for pet food at 263%. So in terms of trends, here are some of the most recent ones. First is the emergence of private labels. During the COVID years, shipping disruption and new government regulations, which we will talk about later, lead to deplete inventories and retailers, which in turn saw an increase in private label offering for products like beverages, tree nuts, dry fruits, and dairy products. Longer shelf life. Lockdowns and supply chains issue means that people are looking at longer shelf life products during and even after COVID. With COVID, we also saw a greater demand, particularly from sophisticated consumers who are buying more foods with clean label claims, especially in first-tier cities like Shanghai and Beijing. Similarly, More manufacturers are developing products with immune system boosting claim using ingredients like probiotics, vitamins, or other functional foods. Last but not least, ready-to-cook meals are a hit with consumers in China. It gained popularity during COVID, but today many retailers, both online and offline, have reported increased sales of ready-to-cook meals, and many manufacturers are looking at buying ingredients from local and overseas to make a potential upgrade in quality. When it comes to exporting to China, there are some important policy and regulations that exporters should be aware of. One of the most impactful policy to exporters, not just the US but the entire world, is known as Decree 248, which require overseas exporters and their production or cold storage facilities to register with the General Administration of Customs China, or GACC. Under this policy, if a product from an improperly registered facility was shipped out and arrived in China before the facility was approved by GACC, the shipment will most likely, if not certainly, be detained at port. There is a long list of food and drinks products that are required to be registered, and the list is periodically updated. So it is important to stay updated, and the best to do this is to keep an eye on USDA's Zhang reports, which is an extremely valuable tool for exporters. On the other hand, since China's announced the end of its zero-COVID policy, like how quarantine requirements for passengers' food exported to China are no longer required to be tested for the virus for both cold chain and non-cold chain products. And on to Hong Kong. The clearest indicator of market's importance to food exporters is the fact that 95% of the local food supplier is imported because of the limited land of agricultural and food production. Unlike China, the vast majority of food imported are consumer products that are brought in to be consumed rather than processing. Because of their proximity, China is Hong Kong's largest trade partner of food and drinks at 24%, and this is followed by the US at 8%. Other key exporters include Chile, Japan, and Brazil, all around 7%. Overall imports have dropped since COVID, and today Hong Kong fell to the 24th largest importer from the US. But when we look closer at the numbers, it is actually the 10th largest importer of consumer-oriented products from the US in the world, and 7th when it comes to seafood. Once again, the Western US is an important exporter to Hong Kong, and it is the largest exporting region within the US. In 2022, it exported over $800 million of agricultural products, more than the Midwest, the South, the Northeast combined. Top imports include tunas, beef, seafood, fresh fruits, food preparations, processed vegetables, and wine. Although most of the categories suffered drops in exports last year, we were able to see that when dividing deeper, that products like hazelnuts, frozen fries, bulk wine, liquid milk, raisins, dry prunes, fruit, juicy tea, and frozen fish also very positive growth exporting to Hong Kong. As Hong Kong reopens, we expect economic activities to pick up as international tourists returns, and this will present an opportunity for growth for business as demand for food and drink pick up again. On the retail side, there is an excellent growth potential for US grocery store items, especially for new and innovation items. US products already enjoy a strong reputation in Hong Kong for being high quality and safety, and it is now a good time to start introducing more innovation products to buyers there. Consumers in Hong Kong are also more aware of food safety and more concerned about health. So packaged food and health products have seen sales increase in recent years. And organic foods are also seeing more demand. Hong Kong has no requirements on organic foods, so this makes it easier for exporters of organic products to access the market compared to mainland China. Last but not least, there is also another key growth prospect in bakery ingredients that is one to look out for. As people become more health concerns, and more people are making their own meals and baking at home. Next, I'd like to hand this presentation over to Roger, and he will tell you about HOFEX and why you should consider signing up.
Okay, thanks, Angela. And I think I should talk back to the Hong Kong market as well. And also, I want to emphasize a few points. First, Hong Kong is the international economy, international financial center, and more the expatriates and the people is living in Hong Kong, so their life standard is much higher than other cities. This is the first one. The second one, in the last 3 years, the COVID situation, the online sales is increased. So it's the online platform is and big one or some small one. And the online platform is getting popular. So I think about before when I working for the WSA program to introduce the outbound mission to Hong Kong, and we invited by most for the retail stores is like the Parking Shop Welcome or the City Super and maybe as well. But right now we can, if you doing the trade show, I think about you can meet the more the new online the sales the platform. This is new opportunity. As for the retail stores as well, and for the retail stores, as I mentioned above, some of the traditional retail stores, also the new retail stores is the new established, like the Yata and Itian, and few the retail stores is compared to before. I think even some of the name is very brand new for you. So I think about this is the it means Hong Kong the retail market the competition is getting strong. So it's good for our companies, for you, and to talk with the new potential buyers and via the platform to distribute your products in Hong Kong. And the third thing is I want to say the Hong Kong's the position. Hong Kong is no any the tariff or the requirement, and also the document is very easy to export. And also Hong Kong right now is the more connection with the mainland China. And as you may know, the China we call the Great Bay Area, and this is the Bay Area called is from the Guangzhou, Shenzhen, Zhuhai, Huizhou, Foshan, and Hong Kong, Macau as well. This is called the Bay Area, Big Bay Area, and Great Bay Area. So I think they also for the lots of the Chinese government, mainland Chinese government is encouraging the Hong Kong people to set the branch office in these regions. They think about this, so that's and by the Hong Kong buyers, and it's easier for you and can bring your products to the mainland China, at least in the southern China as well. So I think about this is another good opportunity. So Hong Kong is very unique, the position, and also is a gateway, and always is the gateway to how to help you to access to the mainland China. So that is I want to actually emphasize again about the Hong Kong market. So let's see what's going on for the HOFEX and what our office what they do. So let's check the date. Let's check the date. The date is the May 10 to 12th, 10 to 12th. And so and if you just be in Hong Kong, and I think you can arrive to the Hong Kong and the May 8 or May 9, and you can live in the 10, May 12th or May 13, and that will be easy to travel. And right now, the Hong Kong, the flight is much more than before. I think it's easy for you to book the tickets, and you got a different selection and choice. This is for date, and that is very critical. Can easy for you to block date. HOFEX always, the largest food trade shows in the Southeast Asia, and they got over the 30 years experience. Normally, is the 1 year in Hong Kong. Hong Kong. So that is important, for the trade show. This is the venue is the convention center for the show. They have for the entire the trade show is focused on not just the focus on the retail, also for the food service, for the beverages, for the coffee, even have some the facility, and for the catering the facility, they have also the own pavilion hall. So this is pretty complex, the trade show. It's can be attracted more the buyers to visit the show and make the show more crowded. Also, and normally, in the last times, the trade show is they got the 2008 exhibitions from exhibitors and over the 70 countries. So that is during or before the COVID. I think about, I talked to the ATO currently, and they very excited about this event, and they think about, this is a good opportunity for the US company to join the trade shows and to know what's going on in Hong Kong, especially, after some of the political recent changes and you can see what's going on in Hong Kong as well. So, and I want to say, and right now the Hong Kong market still is demanding is pretty high, and also they rely on the imported food, and also I want to say, U.S. the products is got a good name, good fames among the China and the Hong Kong consumers and the Hong Kong buyers. Okay, that is there for the trade, and also for the Angela Hu. Also, I wanted to say, and the show is be in Hong Kong, but the visitor, the show, the visitor, not just from Hong Kong, and all the trade show visitors from the mainland China, definitely. So if you have some the bias in mainland China already, but maybe for this trip, you still don't want, hesitate to come to the mainland China. Maybe you can invite your buyers come to the Hong Kong, come to the, you can invite the buyers come to the Hong Kong from mainland China. That will be good, to meet in Hong Kong, and it's very easy from mainland China to right now. The Hong Kong and the mainland China is very easy to access. And also the sites there, for being in China, and also you can meet some buyers from Japan, from Singapore, from Thailand, from Indonesia, from Philippines, and also you can see some buyers from Canada as well. So I think this is a good opportunity for you. You should for your consideration, and this is not just in the Hong Kong show. This is the international buyers trade show. So I think about this is another opportunities. Okay, and that is the general the information about the HOFEX I talked already, and let's see what kind of service. And first I want to talk about USADA the standard service. Okay, the first definitely this is very critical and very important. And we will set the one-on-one meeting. We will invite the local Hong Kong buyers come to come to to your booth to meet with you. This is a pretty standard the service, and later I will give you more information about that. The second is the ATO. I talked to ATO already, and they will do the market briefing about the Hong Kong, Macau market, and I think they will share more information with you. If ATO they have some the reason won't do it, definitely as the Usata rep here, and we will do. We will do. And for the third is for the retail store check. And as I mentioned to you, the Hong Kong currently we got several the new retail store chains, and it's worth for you to pay a visit. Also, and we got the Hong Kong, and also on the street more the new restaurants, and also you can from the restaurants you can tell the food the trends. So I think this also is another opportunity for you to get the observation about the Hong Kong market. That is for the in the same times, as the rep officer, we will develop participants the direction. We will distribute to all the visitors. So because of that, we will get the generic space. We can distribute it, and also your information will be listed. That another is for the translation. And I know in the last 3 years, during the COVID, I think that all companies never stopped. You always think about how to develop your companies, how to select the new items, and how to develop the new PS materials. So it's timing, to make your English the version the new catalogs can be translated to the Chinese. So and our office is happy to help you to do the translation. In the same time, the last one is there for the on-site assistant, and because I think the Hong Kong buyers, most of them can speak a pretty good English, and but the language, another the Cantonese language. So definitely, and we will arrange the assistant with, and also this is the multifunction and can be as the interpret for you, and the interpreter can be speak the Mandarin, speak the Cantonese, can be speak the very influential English as well, and also for you, and if you think about at this year, and we have the budget, want to control the budget, and just want send the one people from the company to the Hong Kong, so another assistant can help you to communicate, and also as the part of can be help you to man the booth. I think this is very important, and as well. Okay, this is a pretty standard the Usata the service for you, but today, and we are talking about the HOFEX. Definitely, I want to give you some the extra value added. First, normally, for the one-on-one meeting is the actually, for the trade show is normally the 4 to 5 meetings during the show, but for this time, and definitely we will increase to the at least 6 meetings for you, and this is the first. In the same times, consider the show is in the Hong Kong. In the same times, because the Usata won't have the sale show, any the support the endorse any trade shows in mainland China this year. And Usata HOFEX is the only trade show, HOFEX only for Usata for trade shows. So I think about you also, besides the Hong Kong buyers, maybe you can think about want to meet some the buyers from the mainland China. So I'm before the trade today, I'm thinking about and for our office we will try to invite some the key important buyers from the mainland China, at least from the southern China, and will to come to the Wusata Pavilion to meet with you and try to let you understand by the the Chinese buyer invitation, and you can meet the Chinese buyers as well. So this is normally before we just for the Hong Kong buyer for the meeting, but for this year, only for this year, and also consider the side we don't have the sale and in 2023, so we will invite some of the key buyers from mainland China for the trade shows. And last is that I want to give you the more information is the translation. Normally for the Wusata, the standard the translation is the 2 pages for each company, each participant. And as I mentioned, maybe in the last 3 years, you developed some of the new catalogs. Normally, new catalogs is at least for my the experience and knowledge, at least the 8 or 10 pages, something like that. So for only for this year only, and only for this year only, and our translation can be increased to the 10 pages. So that is can meet your the new requirement for the catalog. So this is increased to the 10 pages, the translation. This is our office is the extra offer and this service for the Wusata company during the HOFEX show. That is general our service, and I forgot to mention and our office can help you to book the hotel. We already reserved blocked some rooms at the Renaissance Harborview, just in the same complex with the exhibition center. So you don't need a taxi, from a hotel to the show, just in the same complex. It's which very easy for you. And also in this complex, we got 2 hotels. One is the Grand Hyatt, another one is the Renaissance. We just booked the Renaissance. Why? Because the Renaissance, the service is pretty good, and still is pretty high standard. But compared to the Grand Hyatt, the cost is lower. So that's the reason, more reasonable the hotel the rate. So we select the Renaissance can be for the other US exhibitors to stay there. So that is our the logistic the supporting, and definitely this is pretty standard of service. And I know the different companies you have some specific requirement, and you have some questions or something like that, and I love to take and just talk to the startup and people. Also, you can get my email address, and I love to for all the help and whatever before the show, during the show, or after the show. So that is as the startup, we love to help you for the the make your this after 3 years later the trade show is more productive, is more success. So I think this is also is for our China rep office is our mission. So that's good. And also let me see we still got some of the questions. Let's see how many the wine products we are signed. There is no wines, and also we most go to the win the expo in Hong Kong. Yes. So actually before the HOFEX, actually if you really want to join the specialty your special drinks and we have wing expos. Also for the HOFEX they have the special pavilion order for the beverages. So but for the Wusata we are more generic. So I think I in the beginning I mentioned that I will reserve the 10 minutes for the Q&A. So right now is the Q&A time, and please feel free to let me know if you have any questions, any concerns. We love to help.